If you're hearing this, maybe you felt it too. Every single subscriber isn't just a number. It's a handshake in the dark. Quiet message that says, keep going. We're here, listening. The road to 1 million subscribers can't happen without you. If these stories ever made your skin crawl, if they ever haunted your thoughts or left you wanting more, then hit that subscribe button. One small click from you is the fuel that keeps this channel alive in the shadows. Let me know if you'd like an alternate version with a darker, creepier tone, or something more direct and punchy. I should have trusted my gut, but out there, in the dying light, with the forest closing in behind us and our signal gone, there was something oddly comforting about the sight of a house, any house at all. Lynn and I were supposed to be on a short weekend trip, just a nature hike through the lower valleys in the north, a brief escape from the city, and a chance to reconnect without phones buzzing and inboxes piling up. But somewhere after we passed the rusted "Welcome to Banqiao" sign, our GPS began to stutter. The screen turned blank, then pixelated. When the arrow disappeared completely, we were already on a dirt road, the trees pressing in from both sides like silent watchers. I told her we should turn back. She said we'd find our way soon. We didn't. About 15 minutes into the silence, we saw it. The house. It was tucked between a pair of knotted old trees that arched like ribs. The structure itself was a contradiction. Half colonial, half something else. Maybe Southeast Asian traditional. But it was too quiet, too still. There were no power lines, no signs of recent maintenance. The wooden panels were green with moss and the second-floor windows stared out blankly, glassless like dead eyes. But the strangest thing? The front door was open. Lynn tightened her grip on my hand. We should at least ask for help. Maybe they have a map. I wanted to say no. Every cell in my body was screaming it, but logic, damned, flawed logic, won out. If someone lived here, they could help us get back to the main road, or lend us a phone, or water. So we stepped in. The inside smelled preserved. Not dusty or rotten, but preserved, like the stale air inside a sealed jar. The hallway was lined with faded photographs. I paused at one. A black and white image of a family, father, mother, daughter, standing rigidly in front of the same house. Only the daughter's face was scratched out. Not aged out, not damaged by time. Deliberately scratched, with something sharp. I turned away. "Hello?" Lynn called out, voice small but clear. "Is anyone home?" Nothing. Just the faint creak of the wooden floor beneath her steps. We passed into what looked like a living room. An oil lamp was still burning faintly on the mantel, the glass smoky with soot. The fire beneath it long gone, but still. The wick glowed. "Maybe someone just stepped out?" Lynn whispered. I should have trusted my gut, but out there, in the dying light, with the forest closing in behind us and our signal gone, there was something oddly comforting about the sight of a house, any house at all. Lynn and I were supposed to be on a short weekend trip, just a nature hike through the lower valleys in the north, a brief escape from the city, and a chance to reconnect without phones buzzing and inboxes piling up. But somewhere after we passed the rusted "Welcome to Banqiao" sign, our GPS began to stutter. The screen turned blank, then pixelated. When the arrow disappeared completely, we were already on a dirt road, the trees pressing in from both sides like silent watchers. I told her we should turn back. She said we'd find our way soon. We didn't. About 15 minutes into the silence, we saw it. The house. It was tucked between a pair of knotted old trees that arched like ribs. The structure itself was a contradiction. Half colonial, half something else. Maybe Southeast Asian traditional. But it was too quiet, too still. There were no power lines, no signs of recent maintenance. The wooden panels were green with moss and the second-floor windows stared out blankly, glassless like dead eyes. But the strangest thing? The front door was open. Lynn tightened her grip on my hand. We should at least ask for help. Maybe they have a map. I wanted to say no. Every cell in my body was screaming it, but logic, damned, flawed logic, won out. If someone lived here, they could help us get back to the main road, or lend us a phone, or water. So we stepped in. The inside smelled preserved. Not dusty or rotten, but preserved like the stale air inside a sealed jar. The hallway was lined with faded photographs. I paused at one. A black and white image of a family, father, mother, daughter, standing rigidly in front of the same house. Only the daughter's face was scratched out. Not aged out, not damaged by time. Deliberately scratched, with something sharp. I turned away. "Hello?" Lynn called out, voice small but clear. "Is anyone home?" Nothing. Just the faint creak of the wooden floor beneath her steps. We passed into what looked like a living room. An oil lamp was still burning faintly on the mantel, the glass smoky with soot. The fire beneath it long gone, but still. The wick glowed. "Maybe someone just stepped out?" Lynn whispered. "Or never left," I muttered. She gave me a look. "Don't start." We moved further in. The deeper we walked, the colder it felt. Not temperature-wise, but emotionally. Like the house itself didn't like us here. In the dining room, a long wooden table sat under a chandelier that swayed gently, though we'd closed the door behind us. On the table, a silver bowl with water. No dust. No bugs. Clear as glass. Lynn reached toward it. I stopped her. "Let's not touch anything." Then from upstairs, a single thud. We froze. I looked at her. She looked at me. "Maybe it's an animal," she said. "Maybe it's time to go." We turned back toward the front door. It was closed. Worse, it was no longer a door. Where the door had been, there was now a smooth wall. Wooden planks arranged vertically with no handle. No seams. Lynn ran toward it, banging her hands. "This was just open. I swear to God this was open." I joined her, searching the surface. Nothing. No line, no break. It was as if the house had swallowed its own entrance. Then the lights began to hum. Not turn on, but hum. A sound like electricity trapped in wires too old to carry current. And then voices. Not clear, not close, but definitely voices, speaking from inside the walls. We backed into the hallway. The photographs were changing. Where the scratched-out photo had once been, now there was a new one. Same family, same stiff pose. But now the scratched-out face was blurred, not scratched, like someone had painted over it. And worse, Lynn was in the photo, wearing her red jacket. She hadn't worn that when we came in. It had been stuffed in her bag. Now she was wearing it. We didn't scream, we didn't cry, we just stood there, paralyzed. Then the voice came again, this time behind us. A whisper. "You found it." We turned. There was no one there, but the oil lamp on the mantel flared up again. This time brighter. It cast light onto a door that wasn't there before, beneath the staircase. A narrow wooden door, child-sized. Lynn whispered, "I saw that in a dream once." My throat was dry. "What?" She nodded slowly, eyes wide. "I didn't tell you because it was stupid. But before the trip, for weeks I kept dreaming of a tiny door under stairs. A house with no exits, and someone, something, waiting." The oil lamp hissed. The flame stretched unnaturally long, like it was pointing toward the door. And then we heard it, knocking, from the other side. 3 soft knocks, then silence. We didn't open the door. It opened itself. Beyond it was a staircase descending into darkness. But the darkness wasn't black. It was a moving kind of dark. Like water, but vertical. Like smoke with weight. I grabbed Lynn's arm. "No, we're not going down there." But behind us the voices started again, this time louder, chanting. One voice, then 2, then dozens. The photographs on the walls were flickering. Their subjects began to move, writhing slightly in their frames, as if trapped in oil. And then one picture fell to the ground, the glass shattering. The figure inside blinked. We had a choice. Stand frozen while the house closed in, or go deeper and hope for a way out. We chose the stairs. The moment we stepped into the darkness, the air changed. Not colder, not warmer, just wrong. Like something ancient had just taken a breath. Each step creaked, not beneath us but ahead of us, as if something was descending the stairs from the other side. Step, 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 but we couldn't see it, until we reached the bottom and saw the room. It was circular, lined with mirrors, in the center a chair, wooden, facing away from us. And in the mirror across from us we saw something move. Not us, not our reflections. Something in the chair, rising slowly. A long arm. Too long, bending the wrong way. And then a face turned toward us. It had no features, just skin stretched across where eyes and mouth should be, as if someone had molded it halfway, then stopped. But somehow it was smiling. We stood frozen at the bottom of the stairs. The mirrors on the walls vibrated faintly, as if they were not glass but water, and something just beneath the surface wanted to break through. The creature in the chair, a figure made of skin without a face, rose slowly, its limbs bending like wet sticks. It didn't move toward us. It just existed, stretching itself higher than any human should be, like the room was allowing it to grow. Lynn's grip tightened around my wrist. I could feel her heartbeat thudding through her skin. "We need to leave," she whispered. "I don't think the house will let us." Then the lights flickered, not like electrical lights, but more like candlelight being snuffed and reignited over and over. Each flicker showed different reflections in the mirrors. Sometimes it was us, just standing there, terrified. Other times we were gone, or hanging from the ceiling, or watching ourselves from behind. I couldn't breathe. The creature raised its hand and pointed to Lynn. Suddenly the stairs behind us began to creak, upward, not downward, like someone or something was coming down fast. We didn't wait to find out what. I pulled Lynn and darted to the side, into a narrow hallway that had not been there before. The mirrors behind us shattered, one by one, but no glass hit the ground. Just the sound, like something screaming in reverse. The hallway was impossibly long, lined with doors on either side. Each door had a number, but they weren't in order. Room 6, Room 19, Room 4, Room 13. None had doorknobs. Until we reached one. Room 0. The knob was warm, like skin. We stepped inside. The room looked like a replica of our apartment in the city, down to the cracked tile in the kitchen and the scratch on Lynn's old coffee table. The only difference? There were photos of us on the walls that had never existed. Moments we never lived. Birthdays we never celebrated. A wedding we hadn't had. In one photo, Lynn was holding a child, a little girl, smiling. I looked at her. "Did you—" She shook her head violently. I've never seen her before. Then the television turned on. No power cord. No antenna. Showed us in this room, looking at the TV. But in the footage, something stood behind me. Tall, pale, watching. I turned around. Nothing. The screen turned black. Then text began to scroll like a movie ending. "You are remembered here. You belong to the walls now. Doors that open do not close." Lynn was crying silently. I wanted to scream, but my throat felt stuffed with cotton. We had to get out of this room. Then the walls began to pulse. Yes, pulse, like they were breathing. And from the ceiling we heard it. A child's laughter. Echoing. Reversed. I grabbed Lynn and pulled her back into the hallway. But the hallway had changed. There were no doors anymore. Just a single corridor leading straight ahead, narrowing as it went. And at the very end, a mirror. Not broken, not warped. Just one perfect tall mirror. We had no choice, we moved forward. As we approached it, the reflection was wrong. We looked older, gaunt, sunken eyes. Lynn's jacket was torn and bloody. My hands were blackened like charcoal. And behind us, in the mirror, the faceless figure stood once more, closer than before. Then Lynn said something that froze my blood. "That's not the first time I've seen this." "What?" She touched the mirror. "I've been here before." Her voice cracked like ice. She looked up at me, her eyes wide. "When I was a child, I think I got lost in the woods once. My parents said they found me 2 days later. I never remembered where I went, but I dreamed of mirrors, of a hallway that moved, of a room with no air, and—" She trailed off. "And what?" I whispered. And I made a promise. Suddenly, the mirror began to ripple, like water. Her reflection stepped forward. Not her, her reflection. It grinned, a slow, too-wide grin that tore upward across its cheeks. Its eyes were pitch black, like holes cut into skin, and it reached for the glass. Lynn screamed. I pulled her back. The reflection reached farther. The mirror cracked but didn't shatter. From behind it, dozens of hands pressed against the glass. Old, young, decaying, pale, all clawing to get through. We ran. The hallway began to collapse behind us, walls folding in like a throat. We burst into a new room, slamming the door shut. It was a nursery. Dust hung in the air, yet nothing looked old. The crib still rocked gently. On the floor were toys, wooden, hand-carved, and soaked in something dark. Blood? Lynn staggered toward a rocking horse. Her hand trembled as she reached out. The horse began to creak on its own. Then we heard the voice again. Lynn, whispered like it came from inside her skull. She fell to her knees. I knelt beside her. What's happening? Her nose bled. She pointed to the wall. There, drawn in charcoal, was a mural of the house. But not from the outside. From within. Rooms we hadn't seen yet. Symbols etched in blood. A staircase that spiraled into blackness. And in the center, drawn over and over, was the faceless figure. But now's it had a name. Ba. Not Ba as in father. Ba, the word for grandmother. I touched the symbol. The wall moved. A hidden door opened. Beyond it, silence. A hallway narrower than any before. Crawling height only. Made of dirt. Lit by tiny candles that had no flame but still burned. We crawled. The air smelled like flowers and rot. Behind us the sounds returned, not footsteps dragging. Something was following. Then Lynn whispered, I think it's my grandmother. What? She died when I was 6. I used to stay with her in a village like this. I remember she had a locked door she told me never to open. One day I opened it. The tunnel began to widen, and there, carved into the earth, were symbols I'd never seen. Geometric, ritualistic, pulsing with faint light. In the center, a well, black, bottomless, surrounded by offerings. Old dolls, rusted tools, animal bones, and one thing that made me cold. Polaroid of us from yesterday. We backed away, the air grew dense. And from the well, a whisper. Jump, you have already been here. I looked at Lynn. Her eyes were glazed. Her lips moved without sound. She stepped closer to the well. No, I grabbed her arm. But her body jerked, eyes rolled white. The voice roared now, in every direction. The house remembers. The house never lets go. The ground beneath us cracked. The well shook. Something was rising from it. Tall, skinless, eyes glowing. It had Lynn's face. I screamed. I don't remember hitting the ground. Just darkness, pressing against my ears like cotton soaked in water. When I woke up, I was alone. The well was gone. The tunnel was gone. Even the dirt beneath me felt too perfect, too unreal. Like a theater stage, no smell, no breeze, just flatness and silence. But the house remained. The walls rose like towers into an endless ceiling. The sky above me was not sky. It was wood, painted black, and pulsing with veins of red. And all around me were doors. Hundreds, thousands, none marked, none open. And in front of me stood a small girl. Barefoot, pale, her face blurred at the edges like her existence struggled to hold shape. She spoke with Lynn's voice. You made her break the promise. I stood up slowly. Where's Lynn? I asked. The girl smiled. Gone, like the others, but not yet lost. I stepped closer. Who are you? I am what was left behind. Her smile faded. She came here before. She opened the wrong door. She made a promise to give something back, but she left and forgot. The house does not forget. Then she pointed to a door behind her. Unlike the others, this one was painted red. She is there. But if you open it, you will not come back, not as yourself. I didn't hesitate. Inside was the nursery again. But older, decayed. The toys were melted, the walls were peeling like flesh from bone. And in the crib, there was a figure. Ling, but not as I remembered. Her hair was white. Her eyes were black voids, and yet she wept. I knelt beside her. Lynn, it's me, we have to go. She looked at me like through a fog. I broke the promise. You can make it right, come with me. Her mouth opened. A dry breath escaped. She's not done, she wants more. She said I owe her a child. I froze. What? She said if I don't give one, she'll take me. Behind us, the sound of cracking wood. Slow footsteps. A hunched figure emerged from the shadows. It had Lynn's face twisted in agony, but its body was wrong. Bones too long, fingers like needles, moving like a marionette pulled by a cruel hand. The voice it spoke with was not human. You took, you forgot, now give. It pointed toward me. Lynn screamed, "No, take me instead." I pulled her up. No one is taking anyone. But the thing advanced. Every mirror in the nursery shattered at once. Lynn turned to me. "You have to leave, now. I'm not leaving without you. You won't save me by staying. This place feeds on bonds, on love, it twists it." She kissed my forehead and in a flash pushed me through a mirror. I fell. Through glass, through darkness, through memory. I landed back in the hallway. But this time everything was rotting. The walls dripped with black mold, the photographs bled. The chants echoed louder now. The door we'd entered through at the beginning, the one that had vanished, was now back. Slightly open, I ran toward it. From behind, the house screamed, not with a mouth but with its whole body. A screech that made my ears bleed. I pushed through the door, and suddenly silence. I was outside. Sunlight, forest, the dirt path, but the house was gone. No moss, no trees surrounding it, just empty ground. I screamed her name over and over, but she didn't follow. She never did. Days passed. Search teams found me wandering the old trails near Ban Chao. They asked what happened. I told them we got lost, that Lynn vanished. I didn't tell them about the house. They wouldn't have found it anyway. It's not there anymore. Not in the way people expect. But sometimes when I close my eyes, I still see it. Room 0, the red door, the well, and the girl with Lynn's voice whispering, "The house doesn't take. It waits for what's already been given." 1 year later, I still have dreams. Not of Lynn, of the child in the photo, the one we never had. In the dreams, she's crying, and the voice, her voice, is calling out from the well, "You promised." And when I wake up, there's a red door on my bedroom wall. It wasn't there the night before. And it's always just slightly ajar.